can only do things when Adam says.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
I love Adam, but this bag of Jolly Ranchers didn't have grape, and I'm upset. And it says that's grape. I hope you hear this out.
And we're on.
No, you're not.
Not yet.
That's I'm out. All right, I'll see y'all.
Peace.
That should be part of the thing.
It is part of the thing.
It better be on the. It better be on the.
All right.
I'll be upset.
What's up?
You.
Maggie Duarte.
Me.
Joseph Alexander Vargas III.
Ooh. Maximus Decimus
Maximus
Meridius.
Camillus. Joe Vargas. Mags, we have a lot to talk about today.
We do. I'm excited though. I'm excited. It's a lot of good boxing stuff.
Where do we start off with?
Well, we just finished watching that second round of Abdullah Mason.
My prospect of the, I don't even know if I should call him he's a prospect.
Yeah. At the end, he was like, vote for him for prospect of the year, and I absolutely agree that he 100% deserves that for sure.
You want me to elaborate on it first, or you got it?
Let's kick it off.
Abdullah Mason is literally one of my up and coming favorite fighters. He fought a tough fight. He got dropped twice. He dropped the guy between one of those knockdowns, but he showed poise. He showed grit in my book, and he showed that he's determined to win and not lose, And the most important thing that I like about him is that he never held.
He never wrapped up.
He never clutched. He never held in the clinch or nothing. He fought. That makes boxing exciting. And that's why I got voted for round of the year. Round of the year.
Round of the year. I 100% agree. I think, this is one of, I really, really do hope that most fighters coming up are following suit, and taking those risks. That's one thing that I noticed about him too. He is so comfortable in the pocket. You're when you take risks, that's bound to happen. And I think there's a lot of bad stigma around fighters getting dropped. However, the response of the public with this kid, I was looking through the comments of that clip.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, that's what it's about. You go down, you come back up, and you take it to him. And he did it smart. He did it smart. It's not like he was being careless. You're facing a guy with experience. He's going to know how to slip in those punches, and you're going to realize
he
right
dug,
in between.
He dug with them uppercuts and punched in between the combos. He got dropped, but you know what? He got dropped by a guy who was 25 and 2 or 25 and 1.
I think like 25 and 5 at 26 and 5 at the time,
with
but
the
21
high knockout ratio.
21 knockouts, yeah.
And guys like that, if you don't stop them in their tracks like Abdullah did, he would have had a hard night.
Absolutely.
But Abdullah chose to fight him and not give him respect. And hands. I love that. I love that. I'm a fan of fighting, of not of rapping. And I'm take it however you want to take it. I just love guys that put it. If you're hurt and you can't fight, then wrap them up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one time where it
make
is
an exception.
applicable. Yeah.
Yeah, you're hurt, but just because you're at a disadvantage, Abdullah created his advantage.
Yep.
I don't know if he was hurt or not. He was probably shocked.
Yeah, he said they were like flash knockdowns.
Yeah, and it's like wow, but he didn't break character. He didn't.
Right.
He wasn't overwhelmed. He's like, fuck, I got to get this again.
Which is huge. That's part of the mindset. You have to understand that the times where you're talking to yourself when you go through something like that, you have to know how to tell that voice just to maybe to shut the fuck up, but keep calm. Keep telling yourself to keep calm, keep your composure. You're all right. You got your feet under you. Let's go. I think that says a lot about him and his mentality. Because not everybody responds like that. Some guys freak out, and it's not even the knockdown that fucks you up. It's you freaking out, you panicking, that sends you going backwards and start like your heart racing and shit like that. So kudos to him for sure.
Yeah.
That was a great showing for 100%.
Since we're talking about that show, can we go right into Keyshawn Davis? Now, when I saw the other opponent didn't make weight by 6 pounds, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Damn, I wouldn't fight him," But that's why Keyshawn is who he is. He had a big response. He was headlining an event at his hometown in Virginia, where Pernell Whitaker's from. He sold out. His brothers were on the card. Sold out the card. He could have said, man, this guy's 6 pounds heavier. You know what, man? I don't want it. Man, he got some extra money. That's a rule that happens in boxing when a guy doesn't make weight. But to take the fight and win the way he did at home under his little brother's cards, all his family and loved ones were there, and to knock out that young man who's a really good fighter too, with an advantage of having more weight on him and not cutting, shows you who Keyshawn Davis is.
Absolutely.
I really love what he did, and that was huge. A lot of people think it's just a win, but there's a lot behind that win.
Right.
Fighting at home, headlining.
Pressure,
the pressure of not making a mistake, and then the pressure of the guy weighing 6 pounds more than you.
Right. He was way bigger. I was like, for the first time, Keyshawn looked small.
Yeah.
He's usually the bigger guy, you know. This time he looked smaller, 100%. And
I fought Keyshawn one time with Esteban Sanchez. And Esteban Sanchez is a smaller kid, 135. And we went, I don't remember if we went 6 rounds with him. 6. And he beat us, you know. It was my first fight with Esteban Sanchez, but I got to see that kid live, you know, in person. And when I saw him in person, I was like, you know, I was trying to look at his flaws because if I ever had to face him again. I think it's been like 4 or 5 fights since we fought him. I'm not sure exactly the number, but
around there. He's
gotten way better in those 4 or 5 fights. And he's something exciting to see. I can't wait to see him in the future. I took some notes of guys. I took some names down of all the guys, and there's more. Okay, so don't hang me. 135 and 140 fighters. I'll start with the 140s. Shakur, Murataya, Andy Huroka, who doesn't get much nib. He's ranked in the top. Barbosa, Lindolfo Delgado, Keyshawn Davis, Abdullah Mason. He's ranked in the both 35 and 40. Haney, Teofimo Lopez. 135, you have Cepeda, you have Tank Davis, Lomachenko, Navarrete, Floyd Schofield, Joe Cardani, and you got Mason again, and you got Duarte. There's a lot more other guys, but that's exciting.
That is exciting. Just to think all those fights that you know, I really do hope start happening, because Cepeda is fighting Tevin Farmer. I'm not sure why. I think there's a lot better opposition. Maybe, I don't know. You know how sometimes negotiations or whatever, but Oscar Duarte is going to be fighting
the kid we're supposed to fight,
Kenneth Sims Jr. Yeah, 140. That's good. That's a good fight for him.
I'm not going to say who was supposed to fight him, but
yeah, we can't talk about that
because the producer will get mad.
Producer Adam going to get upset. But I really do hope that these fights start happening, man. All of those guys, great fights that can be made this upcoming year.
What did you personally think about Keyshawn, how he handled that fight?
You know, I didn't think that he was gonna. I was like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to knock him out. You know, these guys from Argentina, you know how they are. They're rugged. They come after you, and it's really hard to knock those guys out. However, I saw the same thing with the weight. I thought the same thing. I was like, damn, I don't know how this is gonna go down. I doubt that he's gonna go down bad in front of his hometown. That's also another thing that I considered, you know, a lot of pressure, because he pretty much had to save the card, right? He had to save it because I think they probably renegotiated the contract, the weight, yeah. But he came out, and I can tell in the first round, he was just kind of like how people say, downloading the software and studying Lemos, and I thought he was going to take his time a little bit more, but second round, he went after it. He was like, I'm finishing this dude. You could tell he was determined. I'm going to get him out of there. So he impressed me with that.
You know how, yeah. You know how we always elaborate about mindsets?
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a shout out to his whole team, you know, to Bomac. And I know there's a lot more guys. They're all cool, polite. You know, I faced them.
Mm-hmm.
The way that, you know, fighters watch the media. And I saw a video of Timothy Bradley saying, and to Timothy Bradley's credit, he said, as a fighter, I would take it.
Yeah.
But as a team, I might not.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't let my fighter go out there. You know, they hear all that.
Right.
And Bomac, the rest of the team, they knew what they have in Keyshawn. They saw something that we didn't see because they studied that guy for whatever time period.
Right.
They took the fight, and Keyshawn never showed fear. He just, maybe, I don't know the young man, so he just showed confidence in there, man. I feel like they probably figured that the weight would carry on to the later rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, he
so
would
I
get
think
tired.
yeah, so I think they said we have to press the fight now
Mm-hmm.
because if Keyshawn gets tired and Lemos goes downhill, it's gonna be a hard fight.
Right.
So he got him out early.
Yeah, you know that's a really big thing to consider because weight isn't always just like the obvious thing. It's the shit that can happen on the back end, you know. And I think they did right. He did much better than I thought that he would do. I knew that he would win. You know, I had that in the back of my head. I just didn't think that he would do it that
Knock
fast.
him out that way. I remember I was watching the first round and I was thinking, man, Keyshawn's throwing punches like patting him, you know, and like, what's he trying to stop that guy like that? And all of a sudden he just turned it on.
I think he does that sometimes.
Just elaborate. I think he's just breaking him down where he can touch with, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just seeing what he can do, where he can place his shots. And
because I watch those guys, they explode from here.
Right.
They don't cock nothing back.
Nothing. It's all from here.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really beautiful to watch. And, you know, I actually wanted to, something that you mentioned, I love how Terrence really backs these young fighters. I think that helps give them a lot of confidence as well.
A lot.
That, you know, being part of that team, I think they have something special going on there. It's really cool to watch.
I feel like it's like a support system from one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world when he's going to the fights with you and be in the locker room with you and wants to see you succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I think gives you some like added assertiveness that you have to pull this off.
Right.
And I don't really see any other fighters at that level doing that.
Right. And we're not just talking about the big fights, top rank and championship and none of that. I mean, we're talking about even the fight like the one on Pro Box, you know, a very, very small venue. Yeah. If anybody watches Pro Box
on YouTube.
On YouTube, it's not like the platform is established and it's a great platform. However, you wouldn't expect a fighter of Terrence's, you know, caliber, you know, his stature to be at a small venue like that, and he's a humble
and
dude, you know?
supporting a young man who's not a big name.
Yep, exactly.
Charles Harris, I think
Harris
his name's
Jr.
Harris Jr. He was supporting him. So seeing those kind of things, man, that's inspirational. Like for the fighters to see that you have the backing of a pound for pound best. I think 2-time undisputed.
Yeah, 2-time. And speaking of another special pound for pound fighter, Bam. That kid, he's one of my favorite too. Very impressive, man. How young he is. All that he's doing at 24 years old. You know, he's kind of like a throwback. You know, the old fighters at a young age, just whatever you put in front of him, he's just mantling, man.
Yeah, he don't care.
Dismantling and not getting carried away, not trying to do no extra special shit. He's just doing what he knows how to do best. You know, what works for him. You know, if a unathletic fighter goes out and tries to do the same thing, it's probably not going to work for you, but it works for him, and he's doing it very well. And I'm very curious to see if Inoue fight happens for him in the future.
Ooh. At what weight? 18?
Probably not. Probably at 20. Bam is like at 118, I think.
Is he now or 115?
I think so. 115 or 118. I am not. I think it might be 118. I'm not
sure. Because when he beat Gallo Estrada, he doesn't go back down to 12.
Yeah, I think he is at 115 then.
What is Inoue fighting at 20?
He's at
18?
120. He's at 122 right now. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can meet at 118. I don't know.
If it's worth the money.
If it's worth the money, let's do it. But shall we continue with fights? Talk about what happened this past weekend for us. We had 2 really good first round knockouts with Jabin and Jose. And like I said earlier, I was like, it's sometimes you know, we've been working hard with these guys. But I think to go back to kind of like the opposition that Abdullah Mason was facing, a lot of people like to underestimate, right? But you face some veterans and they have experience, so you never really know exactly what's gonna happen. So obviously I'm content with their performances. Obviously, I think there's always more room, more stuff to improve on. But what do you think they did?
I think they did well. I want to give a shout out to Victor Flores from Flores Management Promotions. We were being moved by Eddie Reynoso and No Boxing. No, I mean,
yeah.
Talento, Clase Talento.
Clase Talento. Mm-hmm.
And I was grateful. I'm grateful. I'm always grateful to those guys for giving us the opportunity. But there's too many, and Eddie's a class act. I've had communication. There's too many chefs. There's too many chiefs in that kitchen. There's like too many chefs in that kitchen. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And there's too many fighters. So we're like, we're like getting, like we're not getting what we deserve.
Traction.
And we made a decision. We reached out to Victor Flores, and he said he would, he would help us, and we're gonna get him a fight or two just to stay busy and see where we go from now. We're gonna look for some prospects. We're looking at guys to fight, and hopefully we can get one of these. Because we're not in this list yet. That I just gave you guys. Javin's only at 10 fights, and Jose's, I think that's 5 or 6.
6, 7, yeah, 6.
So the goal is to stay active, and Victor Flores saw the potential in these kids, and he's on board, and we'll see where we take it to. But we're excited about working with him. He got us 2 fights against 2 kind of like stubborn, strong. One of them was an older veteran for Jose, and Jose went out there and executed what he had to. He just took it to him and got him out in the first round. The guy said he's never been hit as hard as ever. He has almost 50 fights. And then Jabin fought a younger guy, kind of like known for like battling, and Jabin got him out in the first round too. I was excited. I was happy, but there's always growth. We're always going to challenge ourselves as a team. Gordo was there, our boy, and Maggie. We're always like, we win and we're happy, we're excited, but we always look at how we can grow.
Yep.
And what we have to do better, And today, kind of Kyle got the back end of it because I saw more things that we had to do with Jose and Jabin. I said, I'm just going to incorporate it with Kyle today at the gym.
Yeah.
So just, even though you win, you're always looking to be better, and we'll see what the future brings to them. We're excited. We're happy to be working with Victor Flores, and we'll see where we're at later on. And hopefully next year, by this time, we're talking about a big fight for Jabin or Jose, either one of them.
Yep. I'm super excited.
How did you feel about it?
It's funny. I was just going to ask you, while the fight is going on, because the brain is trying to be in a lot of things at once, right? Trying to look at the opponent, trying to look at the fighter, trying to look at what's going on. And in the middle of the fight, I can just remember telling myself, okay, we got to work on that because he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he's not seeing this, he's not seeing that. I don't know if that happens.
Unnecessary stuff.
Exactly. I don't know if that happens for you.
It happens. But for me, watching it in person, I'm like, I feel like I'm, damn. And I'm like, and then when I see it on video, I'm like, damn.
It wasn't that bad, huh?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell was I looking at that day, But that's good that my senses are like that during a fight, because if I'm happy in person,
you're content. You're like, whatever. Yeah. And I told Devin, because Devin sent me Coach Devin, High Speed Fight Lab at the arena.
Slow down, kid.
But he told me he had reached out, say, hey, you have the fights. I was like, no, the family was there. They probably have it. And he ended up getting the clips, and I asked him to send them to me because when you're there, I can just remember like freeze frames of certain instances. Everything's just happening so fucking fast. There's a lot going on in like split seconds, So I told him, I was like, I kind of want to watch it back, and it's so interesting seeing it from the outside instead of when you're at the fight. You're like, oh shit, yeah, I remember it a little different. But it was a good weekend. It was a really, really good weekend. I'm excited. Like you said, I'm excited to work with Victor.
I want to give a little shout out to Brian Figueroa. He's going to be fighting either the first or second week of December. But Brian Figueroa and Ulises Sierra too, because Ulises Sierra is always giving these guys advice at the gym and supportive. Ulises has he's always supporting the guys. But that day Brian was there, and Brian was like a coach in the corner with me before you guys walked out, because I walked out before. I wanted to get the sense of the venue.
They were taking forever.
Yeah.
We were in the back for like 5-10 minutes.
Next to your opponent. Nobody knows this. You're
knows.
like 5 feet away from your opponent, They're giving you that little look. You're looking at them. They're looking at you. And it's like, I just wanted to get out and get a sense of the feel of the venue, because I noticed everybody was wearing black shirts, and our opponent was all dressed in black. So me and Brian are having a conversation, and seeing Brian's excitement for his teammate is overwhelming. That's what makes me happy as a coach. Brian was there, and then Brian gave him a big hug after. And that's team. That's a team. That's the beautiful thing about a team.
Yep.
When Brian fights, Jabin is going to be there. We're all going to be there to support each other, because that's what makes us who we are.
Right.
And it's just, I know it's something simple, but it just made me excited. I just want to give Brian a shout out. And the whole team, man, everybody that went support my mom, she was out there causing fights again. My mom was ready to fight some lady. The lady gave me the attitude.
Got the tail end of the
I got slapped by the not physically,
Golly.
but lady's like, you can move out of that chair. My mom was sitting there. She goes, no, your mom wasn't sitting there.
She was sitting over here. I was like,
I called my mom.
damn.
She goes, I shouldn't have left. I should have went back. Like, damn, mom.
Chill out, mom.
Yeah, but yeah, that was that. And fuck, sorry, I got off topic. But I'm just excited for these wins. I'm excited for what's coming up with these guys.
I'm excited too. And, you know, Brian, I'm super excited because that will actually be the first fight that I'm in where I'm in the corner.
Yeah, cornering him.
Yeah, because I always tell Joe that he is one kid that has spoiled me because I've witnessed him off the couch from not training, not doing shit, dismantle a kid who had been active for at least over a year, you know, constantly sparring, the best sparring that he could get, and he dismantled him and for rounds. A kid, he's special talent.
I'm not gonna say the kid's name because I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I'll make it quick. You have to say a story once in a while. I say a story. I didn't say one last week. We go spar at Canelo's gym, and Eddie Reynoso, I tell him, hey, can we get some sparring for Brian? He goes, yeah, man, he could spar this kid. I'm like, cool. Perfect. So we get ready, and then he comes up to me and tells me, hey, his father doesn't want him to spar against you. And I looked at him and I go, who's the trainer of the year, the father or yourself? He looked at me and he smiled. He goes, okay, we're going to spar. So Brian you could jump in whenever you want. Yeah. Brian starts sparring him, and Brian is just having his way with him. It gets so bad that Canelo gets mad. And not at us, but at the fighter. And Canelo's yelling at him, hey, do this and do that and do this and do that. And Brian, in the middle of the sparring, turns over and Canelo, while he's sparring, and looks at him and tells him, you can tell him whatever you want to tell him. He's not going to do it. And just goes back to beating this guy up, right? I get embarrassed because I'm like, you know, I'm not afraid, but we've been working with these guys for years. And I've never disrespected Canelo or Eddie or any of them. And I'm like, okay, I have to stand behind my fighter. We're going to get kicked out right now, you know? He goes back to the corner, spars him the second round. They're supposed to do 4 to 6 rounds. I don't remember, 4 rounds, I think. By the second round, they pull the fighter out.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, let's get our stuff off, Maggie. You know, we're ready to bounce right now. I'm pretty sure I can see Canelo's face just like mad because
he's competitive.
Oh, he's competitive. Even if it's not him sparring, you know? And then Brian gets off the ring. And he goes and talks to Canelo. They go to like the corner of the gym and they're talking. And I see Canelo's face go from angry to smiling to normal to smiling to happy. Then they come back and he says something like, this is the kind of fighters we should be signing. Mm-hmm. And I told Brian, what did you tell him? He says, I just told him that I was sorry that I wasn't trying to make fun of him or talk to him in his gym like that. I just wanted that I want that opportunity too, you know, that. And Brian is a fighter who's had some mismanagement with 2 managers. And he's sparred Lomachenko, he's Ryan Garcia. He's a special talent.
Very special.
But I was happy that him and Canelo ended well. And everybody knows his name in the boxing world, in the boxing circle. Like, they know who he is, but the media doesn't know him. Mm-hmm. And the fans don't know him, but the fighters and coaches all know him. And when he gets his chance to shine, he'll shine. This kid that I'm talking about, he was sparring. They're talking about him like a prospect, like he's got a little title and this and that. Brian will make that kid cry. And that's the kid that I'm excited to see fight again.
Absolutely. You know, Brian is one of those kids that a lot of people were like, damn, where'd this guy come from? Like, he just came out of the woodworks, and he's like, he's one of those kids, man. Kind of like you know, like Edwin de los Santos. We're like, damn, where'd this motherfucker come from? Like, he's been getting ready, man. Yep.
And he's helped Jabin a lot. He helped, you know, Palma before when he was with us. He's helped him and Cici. They've both been leaders, you know, and Jose Chollet just making a big jump from 4 years in the Army to coming back and fighting already in his 6th pro fight. Kyle is just getting better. We're excited about what this year what's coming for us. And I know we had to talk about something else, but
yeah, no. And I was about to jump to that. Is like Jose went from he left for the Army.
Driving a tank.
He was like 18 when he left.
Yeah.
17 probably, close to 18.
He just graduated high school.
He was still fighting amateur. Jose took those 4 years off. We got him in for like a year, about a year, just training, and he went straight to the pros. He didn't go back to the amateurs. He went straight. He said, "Fuck it, we're gonna learn on the job." And that's what we were gonna touch on. Is like he's making his transition from amateur to pro with that 4-year gap. But he's got the equalizer,
power.
The power, man. Not everybody has that. So, do you think that that helps him a lot, transitioning from amateur to pro? That he's been able to have his success with these, obviously, like we're building him up. We're building him up. But is that a factor?
That's a huge factor because there's a lot of kids who could fight, but don't pack a punch,
right.
And Jose can any moment, or I know we're speaking about Jose, but could turn off your lights with one shot.
Yeah.
And like this guy he just fought had over 50 fights, and he said he's never been hit as hard as like that ever.
Yeah. You could see
career.
it.
Yeah.
In his face. I was like, damn.
He said he got up thinking that it was just like, wow, this is not real. I have to get a feel for this shit. And when he got hit the second time, he's like, no.
Yeah.
I never quit a fight before. He's like, this is not good for me.
Yeah, this ain't normal.
Yeah.
And I felt it. I felt it.
You warmed him up
on the mitts.
We're in a huge convention center.
Yeah, it was a convention center.
It felt like we're in a big warehouse, and you can hear the shots when Maggie was patting them up. Sound like when you shoot a gun, it echoes around.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. Pop, pop. You're like, Jesus Christ! But I felt it like on my. I felt it travel through the body.
That's how I describe their power.
Yeah, it travels, man.
Travels.
And I told him, I was like, Jose, you don't have to load up on shit. Trust me, man. And sure enough, when I saw that guy receive the shot, I was like, yeah, that motherfucker's.
I don't know if I talked about this at the gym, at the podcast before, but one time I was challenging Canelo for a power punch, and he hit me. I had a belly pad, and I stood flat, and he threw a body shot. He did about 70-80%. When he hit me, I felt that power travel to the back of my back. So I know, and I thought this is the best way I could describe Jose and Jabin's power. Their power travels.
It zaps you.
Yeah,
it zaps you. So they just gotta. I'm assuming Better Be probably has very similar power.
Definitely, people talk about it.
You start getting zapped, and sometimes you get even more fatigued when you think about it. You're like, God damn, this motherfucker hits hard, and you just get even more tired, and it zaps your energy for sure.
Yeah,
they just break you down. But
I know what we're gonna talk about really quick.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about why do amateurs not do well in the pros, and not some pros don't do well in the amateurs.
Right.
I don't know, but I do know that there's a lot of fighters who don't do well.
Right.
Are the ones that don't hit hard.
Right.
And there's a lot of pros that didn't have amateur experience. They hit hard.
Right.
Like Chavez, I think he only had 8 amateur fights.
8 amateur fights? Yeah, I didn't know that.
But then Bernie Biev have a shitload. But
yeah.
You have fighters who, most of the guys that had a very good amateur record are usually from
European.
Yeah, usually most of them. But I don't know, there was like one fighter from the U.S. There's a lot more, but there's one named Mark Breland, who was our Olympic gold medalist, I think, in 84. And he was projected to be that was a good team, though.
Yeah.
84. And he just never did it in the pros. He never did well. He did good, but he didn't do well. And I think now, if we have this social media, because social media is making fighters fight each other. There's a lot of amateurs too that waste their career in the amateurs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's a lot
staying there too long.
Too many fights, too many all those weight cuts, all that shit. It all affects them.
Wear and tear. Yeah.
And then a lot of I seen a lot of amateur kids too leave their career sparring pros because pros are deliberately trying to hurt them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
different. It's different.
So I don't know. It's just I guess who you are. If you're an elite amateur, I've seen a lot of videos of elite amateurs sparring pros and they have their way with them. But as soon as you take the headgear off and the little gloves and they have the big gloves, everything changes. Do you think
that the amateurs have changed though? Like because so how was it for you when you were competing? How often were you sparring? Like I think was the competition more stiff back then? Is because I don't know. Maybe they're not gonna have boxing in the Olympics anymore. Like, is it dying out? I think I don't know. This is my perspective on it. I think that it was more common back in the day, right? You have Floyd, you have Oscar. Lomachenko is more like on this side than back then, but Muhammad Ali, Andre Ward. I think there was way more better transitions before than there is now. You think it's like somehow different, the program?
I think that ever since you started the WSB, where amateurs were fighting amateurs with no headgear, and they took the headgear out.
Yeah.
A lot of guys just said, why even fight amateur? We'll just turn pro. Yeah. Because, and then it wasn't, now it's prestigious. Well, for us, it just seems like our country. And it's not like a big thing no more to win an Olympic gold medal or be an Olympic athlete. You know, back in the days it was.
Right.
For other countries, it still is. Mexico, they don't do good in the amateurs, but in the pros, they're built for that shit. Yeah. You know? But I don't know what it is. I think when for this country, for our country, for the United States, I don't feel like there's like honor no more in winning the gold for
boxing.
For most of the athletes. They rather just turn pro because they're like, I'm taking my headgear off and I'm not getting paid. Yeah. I'll just turn pro. Yeah. And then you have a lot of fighters who didn't want to go to the Olympic box office because they probably wouldn't have made it. They would have hurt their stock more like you know who you are. You know what fighters. They turn pro at 17 or 18 years old, you know? You guys know who you are. And they didn't want to fight against the Eastern Bloc. Yeah. Because the stands are dangerous.
Yeah. How valuable do you think that experience? You mentioned Chavez only had 8. Canelo didn't have that many fights in the amateurs either.
No, he got one national, I think, but he had like 30 amateur fights, something like that. Not many.
How valuable you think that experience in the amateurs is in relation to guys who think that, hey, I want to go pro eventually?
I think amateur is good for amateur. If you're gonna go pro, you have to change everything who you are. There's exceptions like Lomachenko, but that's one out of a. Yeah. That's the ones that you see that are
Gennady.
Your Gennadys, your
Bivol.
Yeah. I'm thinking of more names, but Joshua. Those guys are like fighters. They come after you and they fight. Right. Because when you're fighting in the pros, it's about let's go.
It's different.
It's let's go. Even like you think about back then, like Leonard. He was a warrior, bro. He was known as a smooth boxer, but you see his highlights. He's banging.
Yeah.
He's banging.
Absolutely. So it's a mentality thing.
It's a mentality. Boxing has gotten soft with all this clinching, and I'm always gonna preach that. You take out the unnecessary clinches, and the boxing will be like competitive, like the UFC.
I agree. It's
unnecessary clinches.
Unnecessary
because they just clinch for disadvantages. They shoot a shot, they missed, they wrap.
I don't even think is that necessary? Can you just like take the fight on the inside and just catch your breath there? Do you need to clinch? You think
it's fear. Fear is a mother. Like fear, they don't want to fight in the inside. Yeah. It zaps you. It takes your body shots. You get an uppercut. You get cut. That's what, and I understand that, but that's what people want to see. People want to see fights. People don't relate to hugging.
Do you think that there's a way to evolve the sport? You think that could be a part of it, evolving it? Because
I've seen few referees take points away from it. I wish they were all on the same page.
Thomas Taylor. Yeah.
I wish they would get all on the same page and start, you have you have to have the sanctioning bodies get together. Yeah. And explain to the commissions and the referees, we want to make this shit exciting. It's because they protect their investments by letting them do that. Yeah. Like, think about it. If Shakur Stevenson would have been Abdullah Mason and he got dropped the first round, he probably would have wrapped them for 100 times in the first round. Yeah.
I could see that.
He doesn't have that bite down Abdullah does. And they let Abdullah. I think Shakur hasn't had a referee really take a point away from him. But I never forget the Amir Khan against one of the Peterson brothers when he was fighting in D.C. Amir Khan, you can go back and watch this fight. Amir Khan hugged him, I don't know, like 50 times for no reason. They took points away from hugging. They're ready to disqualify him for wrapping up, and he got his ass handed to him. Because they don't know how to fight without clinching.
That's like Rolly Romero against Pitbull Cruz.
They forced him to fight.
The second that Thomas is like, I'm taking a fucking point away from you, the game changed.
It changes.
It changed.
You want to make fighting exciting? Take away the clinch. I'm going to make some shirts in for the podcast. No more clinching in the sport.
No more clinching. Yeah. Get rid of the fucking clinching, man. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you think that the amateurs, it's not really, it doesn't really prepare you for the pros. I think, okay,
The work ethic does.
That's what I'm gonna say. The work ethic, the
Yeah.
mindset. More than anything, the mindset, that experience of knowing how to stay calm under pressure. I think you know what I'm saying.
And how to handle, because you're in the amateurs and you're the top amateurs. You're fighting nothing but the best kids.
Yeah.
So you know how to handle pressure from elite fighters.
Mm-hmm.
And in the pros, it changes a little bit. The fight slows down. It's more accurate. They're trying to hurt you more. But you can handle it because you've been there a lot of times fighting some of the best guys.
Right.
It's the guys that no name, that guys that didn't place in the amateurs that are the dangerous ones.
Yeah, man.
The ones you never heard of. The ones who didn't make it to the top 10, but they're right there flirting at 11, 12,
yeah,
9.
And that's one thing the Chollet brothers. I don't know them from the amateurs, obviously, but you know, from what I understand, a lot of people know. Like we were in Rosarito, a lot of people down there in Baja, they know about them. You know,
everywhere, even here in the U.S., like the promoters know them, but see, the knock on them is that they won when they were little, and then I don't know if I should elaborate on this one. We might save it, but they were used to give fighters motivation
to build others.
Yeah,
try and build.
And then
kind of like the fucking how in F1 they use one guy to help the other guy win. Yeah,
and they gave other fighters confidence, and they took their confidence away.
Yeah,
but now they're with me, us.
Yeah,
and we're installing confidence, and we still haven't stopped.
Yeah,
because you can break a fighter feeding another guy confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they'll be back.
they'll be back. 100%. That's we're working with them on the daily, man. And like you mentioned, I can't wait for Brian to start
add that little sauce to the team.
Add that because
and Cece's wisdom.
Yeah.
Kyle's drive.
Yeah.
You know, every fighter brings a component to the team, and
absolutely
look out.
Yeah.
Here we come.
So that's what we like is fighters adding some value, right, to the team. Yeah. So that's what it is.
So guys, please, any questions, hit us up on the we're gonna start trying to put these things on
YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Shorts, a little videos. Also, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It helps us grow. If you guys don't like it, tell us on there what you guys don't like, and if you guys like it, tell us what you guys want us to talk about. We always bring a perspective of how the world is kind of like bring it back to boxing. Because it's always one round at a time for us. And it's always like sometimes you lose some rounds, sometimes you win some rounds, but it's like life.
Right.
And you go back to the corner, make some adjustments.
Let's get back at it.
That's where we want to be. We want to be in your corner.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be great if we can get some activity, like as far as comments and feeding us some subjects.
We've been getting more. I think I want to get a little video that says how many subscribers we have. So you guys
we getting views but no subscribers. What the fuck?
Let's grow together, guys. And I'll see you guys. Thank you. Peace.
Ooh, I gotta do this because Adam gets mad.
This has been a Point and Yell production. Yeah, I think the words, but sometimes they don't come out of my mouth no good.